We're often told that burnout is a you problem, that it's a lack of strength or a failure to find balance in your life. And in medical school and residency, the solution we're given is usually a lecture on wellness or a reminder to sleep more. But when you're a student or a trainee in the medical field, working 80 hours a week and carrying the weight of patient care, balance is not an option. It feels like a story told by people who aren't actually in the trenches with you. And the data shows why this feels so heavy. Research suggests that over 50% of doctors and trainees report symptoms of burnout. It's not just a small group of us, it's actually the majority. This leads to more medical errors, more depression, and people leaving the job that they worked a decade to enter at higher rates than ever. And I'm sure everyone watching this video can name someone they know or follow who has left medicine. And it's because we're taught how to save lives, but we aren't taught how to survive the process of actually allowing us to save those lives. So I started looking at things differently. Burnout isn't just a personal failure, it's a shift on a scale. On one side, you have stress, and on the other, you have joy. Think about where we started on this journey. We entered medicine because the joy side was dominant. We had a sense of meaning and a desire to help people. But as the training went on, the system added more and more to that stress side. We got long hours, administrative burdens, and a constant fear of making mistakes. And eventually, the stress side skyrockets, it shoots through the roof. And at the same time, the joy side feels empty. In our field, the stress is just a constant. It's built into the job. We can't always control the number of patients we see or the hours that we're in the hospital. So if we can't make the stress side of the scale lighter, then our only choice is to make the joy side heavier. We have to be just as intentional about finding joy as we are about anything else in this process. And the first way to add weight back to that joy side is through purpose. And I hear you, I know what you're thinking. You've heard 1,000 times that all you have to do is just remember your why, and you're probably already rolling your eyes right now. I already want to do that with you. But here's the truth. Most people get purpose completely wrong. Purpose isn't just a warm feeling that you get when a patient says thank you. It's actually a tool that you can use to change how the work actually feels. I learned this when I was first preparing for the MCAT. At that time, I wasn't connected to my purpose. I didn't feel like the things that I was studying would actually ever help me take care of patients. And that's probably true, but it just felt like a task that had no real point. And because I couldn't see the value in it, my preparation was poor. The mental weight of opening a textbook every day felt huge, and this led to a score that I wasn't happy with. I got a 506, and while that may be enough to get into school, it wasn't going to make me competitive for the programs that I really wanted. And so I had to take the exam again. But the second time, I didn't just change my study habits, I actually changed my mindset. I reconnected the work to my goal of becoming a doctor. I recognized that the MCAT was just a necessary step, but more importantly, I realized becoming good at doing hard things, especially things that you don't want to do, is one of the most important skills that a doctor can have. That shift changed everything. I was more driven, my study sessions felt easier, and I improved my scores to a 511. Simply connecting the hard work to a bigger goal was the most powerful tool that I had. I want you to think about the hoops that you've already jumped through. At that time, they probably felt pointless. You probably hated doing them, but looking back now, can you see how they shaped you? Can you see how they're the reason that you're actually where you are today? It's easy to see the value in hindsight. The real challenge is seeing it ahead of time. You have to recognize that the things that you're doing right now that you don't like are actually going to serve you. You might not know exactly how yet, but they will. The hoops that you're jumping through today aren't any different than the ones that you've already cleared. They're building the person that you're becoming. If you can appreciate that fact now, the burden starts to feel a lot lighter. Now, while changing your mindset is powerful, there's a second side to purpose that's about what you actually do with your time. And the data on this is interesting. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic looked at how doctors spend their days. They found that if a doctor spends at least 20% of their time on the part of the job that they find most meaningful, the risk of burnout drops significantly. Think about that. You don't need your whole day to be perfect. You just need 1 out of every 5 hours to be spent on something that you truly enjoy. It could be research or teaching or a specific type of patient care. But once you go below that 20% mark, the risk of burnout goes up. This means that you have to be aggressive about carving out that time. You have to find that one thing that gives you something to look forward to. For some people, that's not even at work. For most of us, that's not at work. Maybe it's a morning workout that clears your head. Maybe it's a weekly date night or night out with the friends that you refuse to cancel. Or maybe it's a specific surgery or procedure coming up that you're excited to participate in. There will always be parts of your day that exhaust you. That's just a given, especially in medicine. But if you can protect that 20%, the rest of the day becomes much more bearable. What's that one thing in your schedule this week that actually gets you out of bed? And if you can't answer that, that's your first sign that your scale is out of balance. Don't wait for the system to give you joy. You have to go out and find it and put it on the scale yourself. Now, the second way that we can actually add weight to the joy side of the scale is through progress. Most people think progress is only about the big milestones. They think about the day that you get your white coat, or the day that you match into residency, or the day that you finally become an attending. But if you only wait for those big moments to feel good, then you're going to be spending over 99% of your career feeling like you're failing. True progress isn't about mastery. It's actually recognizing that you're just better today than you were yesterday. There's this super famous study from Harvard that looked into this. They analyzed over 12,000 diary entries from hundreds of people across different industries. They found that the single most important thing for mood and motivation wasn't a pay raise or a promotion. It was simply making progress in meaningful work. They call this the progress principle. Even a tiny step forward, or what they called a small win, was enough to protect people from burnout. In medicine, it's super easy to feel like you're just a cog in a machine. You're doing the same notes and rounding on the same patients every single day. If you aren't careful, it just starts to feel like you're spinning your wheels. You feel like you're getting older, but you don't feel like you're getting better. That's when the stress side of that scale starts to feel heavy. I felt this deeply when I first started my residency. When I walked into the emergency department back then, I didn't really know how to do anything. I didn't know how to reduce a fracture. I didn't know the first thing about managing a hand laceration or definitely a spine trauma. It was super overwhelming. But now I can walk into those same rooms and feel relatively comfortable. I now feel confident in my ability to manage some of those patients. And just reflecting on that reality makes me feel like I'm actually getting there. That feeling is empowering. It's the proof that all the work is actually turning into skill. Now, I want you to take a second and look at where you were 6 months ago. Don't think about what you've mastered, because the list of things that you don't know is always going to be long, and the list of things you master will probably always be zero. So instead, just think about where you've improved. Maybe you finally understand a medical concept that used to confuse you, or maybe you've become more efficient with your clinical duties, or maybe you feel a little bit less nervous when you have to present a patient to a resident or an attending. I remember absolutely being terrified to do this at first. But we're so focused on the mountain that we still have to climb that we never stop to look back at how far we've already come. If you don't acknowledge your progress, it's like it never happened. You're doing the work, but you aren't getting the joy from it. So don't wait for a graduation ceremony to tell you that you're succeeding. Find one thing that you did better today than you did yesterday. And if you can do that, you've already won the day. Now, if we're talking about making the joy side of our scale heavier, one of the biggest wins that you can have is the feeling of actually moving forward. But in reality, especially in medicine, we never feel like we have enough time to actually keep up with all of the books and ideas that we know would make us better. But that's why I am so excited to have Shortform as a sponsor of this video. They don't just give you quick summaries, they provide deep analysis that feels like having a brilliant friend walk you through a book. I use it to filter through titles on productivity, health, and leadership to decide which books are actually worth my limited time. I recently used their guide for deep work, and the commentary helped me find new ways to stay focused during my research blocks, because staying focused while doing research is tough. You get chapter breakdowns, smart commentary, and even exercises to help the lesson stick. And my favorite tool is their browser extension. It can summarize long articles or even YouTube videos with a single click. This is a huge help when you're trying to clear through administrative tasks quickly. They drop new guides every week, and you can get access to all of them for literally the cost of a book a month. It's a super small investment that adds weight and progress to that joy side of your scale. You can try it out for free and get a discount on an annual subscription when you use the link in the description. It is a great way to keep your mind sharp without adding more stress to your day. Now, the final way that we can add weight to the joy side of that scale is through connection. This is usually the first thing that we sacrifice when we're busy. When you're exhausted after a long shift, the last thing that you want to do is grab dinner with a friend or call your parents. You tell yourself that you don't have time or energy. But that isolation is what makes the stress side of your scale feel so heavy. There's another super famous study from Harvard that proves this. It's the longest study on happiness ever done. They followed a group of people for over 80 years to see what actually led to a healthy and happy life. They didn't find that it was money or career success. The number one predictor of health and happiness was the quality of their relationships. In medicine, we tend to isolate ourselves because we think that nobody else understands what we're going through. But I felt the power of connection at the hospital firsthand. Sometimes I walk into the hospital feeling a complete sense of dread and total exhaustion. But then I see my friends in the workroom or the hallways, and these aren't just my colleagues, these are people who are in the trenches with me. And just seeing them and sharing a quick laugh can completely turn my whole mood around. And outside of the hospital, my circle revolves around my family. Being able to lean on my wife and spend time with my 2 kids is my most consistent source of strength. It reminds me that there's actually a world outside of the hospital that's worth fighting for. And even if you don't have a family at home, you need to know who your circle is. You have to rely on them at some points for support and encouragement through the difficult seasons of this journey. And I've realized how much we actually need each other to navigate this path, so I created a mentorship community called Teach As You Learn, where I just want to build a place where students and trainees can find support and grow together instead of trying to do it all alone. And we currently have over 200 members in the community right now. And I've actually kept cost at less than a cup of coffee because I want this to be accessible to everybody. And honestly, if the cost is a problem, reach out to me directly and it'll be free. I don't want anyone to be limited in their access to community networking and mentorship because of money. Ultimately, this is about recognizing the importance of your circle. You have to be willing to pour time and energy into a community. We often think that we don't have the energy to give to others when we're tired, but the truth is that pouring into other people gives you way more than it takes. Burnout isn't a personal failure. This is just what happens when the stress of the journey becomes heavier than the joy that you get from it. You can't always control the stress. In fact, you rarely can control the stress, but you can control how much weight you put on the other side of that scale. When you're intentional about your purpose, your progress, and your connections, you're doing more than just surviving. You're actually building a career that you can enjoy. Now, if you want to see exactly what the stress side of my scale looks like as an orthopedic surgery resident so that you can really see why it's so important to balance out stress with joy, then you'll love this video where I show you just how hard this life can get. It gets kind of dark. But as always, keep evolving, and I'll see you guys in the next one.